No siemanko, dzień dobry, witam wszystkich bardzo serdecznie, Michu z tej strony. Tak jak zapowiadałem wcześniej, dzisiaj zaserwuję Wam wywiad z CEO projektu Swarm Network, czyli z Janikiem Masonem, który opowie nam o projekcie, zdradzi nam kilka ciekawych szczegółów, także tradycyjnie nie przeciągając zapraszam na intro. Okay, so I have here with me Yannick Mason. You can tell a little bit more about yourself and about the Swarm Network project.
Sure. First of all, good to talk to you again, and thank you for having me here, and welcome to everybody that's tuning in. My name is Yannick Mason. I am the founder and current CEO of Swarm Network, and what we do is we have built a framework for multi-agent collaboration. So as you might know, a swarm stands for a group of agents that are working together. And we've built a very interesting initial use case on top of this framework, which is a truth protocol, which is completely powered by a swarm. And what a truth protocol means is that essentially we're allowing a swarm to, in real time, verify arbitrary data and put it online. The first D app has been built on top of that protocol, and the swarm is powering that app, which is called Rollup News, indeed. And what Rollup News is doing on X is you can tag rollup _news, and you can add the word rollup, and you can do that under a thread, and then it will take that thread, it will run it through the swarm and through the protocol, and it will return to you a rollup, an information rollup, which can help you to understand the context, the claims, and what is true and what is not true. So it's basically like a fact-checking tool, but it's on-chain and it's fully powered by a swarm. And in the very near future, you'll be able to actually buy agent licenses, and those agent licenses allow you to build your own swarms. So you can build a swarm on top of our protocol, or you can build a swarm that serves your own needs. It's really up to you. And yeah, that's basically what we do.
Yes, you also have an app on Telegram and the Swarm Market, which is a prediction market,
Yes,
which this tool is gonna develop as well.
Yeah, so the prediction market already exists, but in its current state, it's just a normal prediction market. However, in the near future, you will be able to use your swarm to actually make predictions on the market. So the prediction markets are now a little bit in the background, but they will come back in the future.
Okay. So the sales of the agent licenses will start on Monday.
Yes, correct.
Could you tell me why did you pick SUI network for this event?
Yeah, sure. First of all, the SUI settlement layer and the chain itself is very efficient. It's fast. It's very composable. It allows us to build relatively quickly. The ecosystem itself, I think, is still a little bit undervalued. It's up and coming, and we have some really good friends over at SUI. So we're receiving good support as well. So I think that's one of the most important things. Like, we needed a nice environment for us to get started. So SUI was one of the options, and we looked into it and we started to test our hypothesis, and we kind of like figured out that SUI was a very welcoming space for us, and hence we are building now on SUI.
I've seen that in tokenomics you have some part of the tokens reserved for the airdrop. Could you share maybe a little bit more about this?
Yeah, so the airdrop itself is going to be spread out over a certain amount of different mechanisms. The first one is that SUI holders, not all SUI holders, but SUI holders will be able to claim some swarm tokens. Additionally, we had 4 million users on the prediction markets, and there's a small portion that those users have to be rewarded with. And then additionally, we have a closed group, and potentially, this is not official yet, but potentially those people are gonna get a airdrop as well. So we'll announce everything in specific details very soon, so everybody understands like where they can participate to be able to receive the airdrop.
Nice. So the licenses of agents, they're gonna start producing the truth token from day one. That means from Monday.
Yes.
So it's pretty important to be at the beginning, let's say, that you can gather a lot of tokens, and then of course the risk to reward ratio, it's getting smaller. TGE is planned for the second quarter.
Yes. So right now it's on the calendar for the second quarter. However, we're trying to speed up. So no promises, but it might just be that it's going to be a little bit sooner than we had originally planned. We do want to go to market fast. It's just good to, like keep moving. And the token itself has a lot of utility within the other products within the ecosystem. So I think it's relatively important that we get it out very quickly.
Yeah. Basically, the narration of AI agents in crypto is speeding up a lot. I think my 4 videos on the channel are only about AI agents. So this is very noticeable. Here I also can see the Omega airdrop. Could you tell me maybe how this is gonna work?
Yeah, so this is still a little bit secret, but I can give you a little bit of context, and you're the first one that's gonna hear this, right? So you're lucky. So the way that the agent builder and the swarm platform works is that you can build a swarm, you can solicit agents to join your swarm, and then you can actually launch underlying assets for these swarms. So what that means is that you can create a swarm, you can create an asset, a token for that swarm, and then you can distribute that token among whoever is a stakeholder, but also participants on the network. So if you go to Twitter and you go to Omega the Doge is actually one of the first AI agents that is representing a swarm. And he's going to be the one that you can use to communicate with that swarm on the background, or in his swarm there's like a couple of agents, and maybe that number will grow. And that's going to be one of the first swarms we're going to launch as well on our own platform. So Rollup News is one great example of a swarm. Omega the Doge, which is still, I'm not going to tell you the utility, but it will be pretty exciting. So if you get in now, and you support the network, you get an agent license, you'll be able to get access to airdrops of the other assets that are going to be launched as swarms on top of Swarm Network. So I think that's a pretty interesting and exciting thing to understand. It's like, okay, you get Swarm token, but then once the builder goes live and once you can actually launch your assets as a swarm, right? Like obviously a lot of people are going to do that. And if you can then get some piece of the action off of that, that's probably, one of the bigger benefits of being early, besides just being able to get the tokens.
So that means that any AI license could actually develop their own token after they have the agent?
Yes, but there's a caveat, because the token is not just the token utility is not just a token for having a token, right? It's not just saying, hey, like I'm gonna launch like a swarm. The swarm actually has to have agents in it. It has to be functioning, and it has to serve a certain purpose, right? So yeah, that's important.
So we're gonna have 2 tokens, truth token and the swarm token separately?
The official ticker for the Swarm project has not been decided yet. And the truth token might indeed be either for rollup or for something else.
Okay. And the utility of truth, how it's gonna look?
So do you mean the utility for the Swarm token, right?
For the main token, yes.
For the main token, yes. Okay, so the utility for the main token is going to be have multiple layers of utility. So we have a protocol which is run on certain fees, and there's verification fees, reward fees, etc. So on the protocol side, that is how the token is going to be used. Then there's going to be staking and governance. And then additionally, you will have to actually use the token to be able to get the other tokens on the platform. So there's also kind of like the loop there.
Okay. And I've seen that there are many unlocks actually. Do you have some strategy which will lower the selling pressure? Because we know that some of the nodes projects, for example, when they run the mining like from day one, the users can mine a lot of tokens. They can gather a lot of tokens, and then when the TGE happens, there is a lot of selling pressure. I know that you have some penalty when it comes to unlocks.
Yes, so there's indeed this unlock early claim burn penalty. So if you claim within the first 31 days, you have to burn 50% of your allocation. Then it scales, like between 32 and 93 days, it's burned 30%, and then after 93 days, it's 0%. So that is the first thing. Then additionally, there's going to be some mechanisms where you can lock up your licenses and your tokens to receive allocation of the other assets. That's gonna be another incentive. But if you go to the tokenomics, if you look at the tokenomics, there are not many unlocks, right? So we've actually designed the system, not the system, the tokenomics, so that, like we are able to manage the unlocks of the licenses very well. So yeah, I think one of the biggest mistakes that other projects made, some of them performed pretty well, some of the node projects, they performed pretty well, but some of them, they performed not so well. And I think it's mainly due to too many unlocks on TGE. So if you see like our private and our seed round investors, they have no unlocks at all. And the team has no unlocks at all. The only thing that is unlocking really on TGE is the agent licenses, and then the essential things, right? So market maker, liquidity, exchanges, like those are things that are not gonna become selling pressure. Those are things that we need to actually move this project forward, right? So yeah, from a tokenomics perspective, I think this is why we went a little bit more aggressive in terms of, like who gets unlocks when, and we're racing through this agent license still. And I think that the people that invest, they have to be more comfortable, right? So, like if you additionally do an IDO at a really low valuation, and the IDO unlocks, like that's just going to be extra selling pressure. So we've mapped out everything very well. We know at what levels we're gonna maintain the token, or gonna push the token out, and where we want to be in terms of performance, and how much capital we have to deploy to reach those numbers. So yeah, I think, like the thing that we can do is just try and time the market the best, and have a really good plan in terms of, we know who's going to unlock when, we know what the selling pressure will be, and we'll be able to potentially pocket that selling pressure by investing. And I think that's the way we can manage this very well.
Yeah, the tokenomics makes me feel like this is a pretty long-term project, since the team it's locking their tokens for so long time. And
Yes.
I see here that the DAO treasury have some spare tokens for grants. Would you?
Yes.
Do you have some planned partnerships for the developers who would like to build on Swarm?
Yes. So we indeed have. So we have a community reserve, which is used not only for the community incentives, but also for the expansion of Swarm user-owned swarms. So that's one thing. And then we indeed have grants for larger projects. So eventually the DAO treasury and the governance will happen there, and there's allocation indeed for grants and partnership. But that will be a little bit later down the line, once the technology has been fully developed and is out there, and people can actually like scale rapidly and really put what we've built to use, in the sense of they can build swarms that actually contribute to the society in a significant way. So yeah, we're going to focus more on community-owned swarms in the beginning, because we see a lot of potential there. And then after that, we're going to move to a little bit of a mature model, where we are probably going to partner with some bigger ecosystem players and build out their swarms.
Great. So I also seen that you could actually resell your license, which is pretty new when it comes to other node projects, because we can compare your projects also as a node, even if they are AI licenses, but they work pretty similar. But you could resell it, and then it comes with a royalties of 2.5%. That means that, for example, if I sell my node for $1,000 to somebody else, and then he resell it again, I will get this 2.5% directly to my account, correct?
Yes. So when you purchase an agent license, you will receive a agent license and you will receive an NFT. That NFT you can later use after 6 months to unlock your agent license, and then it becomes transferable. So it's also important that you understand that if you see that NFT in your Sui wallet, don't think that that's the agent license. That NFT is used to unlock the agent license after 6 months, and then we have a marketplace for it to be tradable. Besides it being tradable, you can also lease it. So once the platform is live and you don't want to build your own swarm, but you maybe have friends or you maybe know somebody that can do it for you or on your behalf, you can decide to lease your license. So you retain all the rewards and the benefits, but you just allow somebody else to push the utility side. So it's an interesting model, I believe, because there's a lot of people that do want to invest and they do want to get the tokens, save the tokens, and with the profit maybe build out a real business using the swarm technology, and retain ownership in a sense of that swarm as well. So yeah, you can collaborate and you can lease your license to people that are capable of doing so.
So you are leasing your license, but you still get your tokens on your account, but somebody can build on your license and you still get incentivized from them.
Correct. Right. So you see that like the way that like business usually works is like you might have somebody that really wants to build something, but maybe they don't have the capacity or the financial power to be able to do so. In such a case, you could probably say, hey, okay, you can lease my license, we launch this together, but for you leasing it, I want to get like whatever 20% of the asset, something like that.
Nice. And the last seed round, $3 million. Did you had any other founding? I mean, I know that you had, but could you share maybe with us?
Yeah, so we're still in the process of raising the next round, so I cannot share the details yet. But
Okay.
yeah, like there's definitely going to be an announcement in the future where we announce the private round, who's in it. We have some very interesting angels. So we have a syndicate of private investors that's backing us, and there are some very influential people there. Once we finish up everything with them, we'll be able to share more details. But yeah, I think like this initial funding, $3 million, is a good start. We have much more in the pipeline, and I'm very excited. It's like finally get to build something that can really have an impact in the world. And I think that the problem with Web3 is a little bit that there are so many projects out there and people that think that they're building something interesting, but actually, they're just selling stories. So I'm feeling very excited to be able to build out something, that actually does something, and people seem to be very excited about it too.
Yes, you have a pretty strong and successful team, so I hope it's gonna do very well as your previous projects. And I wish you all the best. Well, I think that's it. I find out everything what I want. If you want to just share some alphas with my community, you are welcome.
Yeah, I think the biggest alpha is like be early, and there's an alpha group. There's still around 200.
Yeah.
Or a little bit less, I think like 180 spots in the alpha group. If you go to cli.swarmnetwork.ai, you can potentially figure out how to get into that alpha group. If you do get into the alpha group, you'll be rewarded for it. So like you still have a little bit of time to get there.
You have one day.
One day, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I hope to see you again, and I wish you a lot of success in the opening sales. Monday, big day. We will
Yes.
see how it goes.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for always supporting, and I really appreciate you getting me on.
Thank you very much. No i dobrze, wydaje mi się, że dowiedzieliśmy się kilka ciekawych rzeczy. Sprzedaż licencji zaczyna się już jutro, czyli w poniedziałek, 27 stycznia, na polski czas to jest godzina 13. Polecam sprawdzić moje ostatnie wideo, gdzie zagłębiłem się trochę bardziej w szczegóły. I to tyle ode mnie. Proszę zostawić łapkę w górę, siemanko, pozdrówki, yo!